you have done. Saul replied, I saw my men scattering from me, and you didn't arrive when you said you would. And the Philistines are at mission, ready for battle. Amen. Amen. So, this is the story of Saul and Samuel. And this was the episode where Samuel lost his inheritance to the throne. Mind you, before this event, he had been ruling for 42 years. Okay? Amen. So he became a king at 30 and ruled for 42 years. But I want us to pay attention with the topic today saying the staying power. The staying power meaning the ability to wait, the waiting power. Amen. So Saul, Samuel being the prophet, gave an instruction, and he said that he will come and then they will give an offering, a sacrifice unto God. But Samuel did not come when he said he would. So Saul was, the Bible said he was hard pressed. Why was he hard pressed? Because his enemies were at the borders. Amen. His enemies were waiting to invade. But what Saul failed to understand was that all the battles he had won was because God was with him. All the battles he had won was because he had followed instructions and the help of God was readily available. So then Saul, looking at the situation, he saw that no, if I don't do something, our enemies will overcome us, forgetting that his battle winning was not his strength, nor his men, but was from God. Amen. So when Saul saw this, he panicked. And he used this word, he said, my men were slipping away. My men were running away, knowing the armies of the Philistines that were across the river Jordan. My men are running because if I do not do anything, they come to overpower us. But then he forgot that all his strength was coming from God. He forgot that all his abilities was because God was with him. And Saul went ahead and made the sacrifice. And the Bible said that as soon as he finished, Samuel came and he said, what have you done? Tonight, I want us to understand this word, the staying power. You see, things around you might look like they are crushing you, but if you can only wait on God. Things around you might seem hard and tough, but if you can only wait on God. I know one thing about this God, that no matter how hard he gets, he will always appear. If Saul could have waited just a little longer, if Saul could have waited just a little longer, the Bible said that he made the sacrifice, forgetting that the instructions the prophet gave was wait until I come. Meaning that the key to the victory, the key he had to win that battle was by obedience and listening to what the servant of God has said. And he said, wait. You see, because when you decide to take things in your own hands, you will end up making mistakes. Saul made a sacrifice because those were things that used to happen anytime they were going to battle. Beloved, if God spoke to you yesterday in a still small voice, does not mean every day he speaks in that same voice. Today it could be through somebody. Tomorrow it could be through a child. It could even be by the sign on the road, something you see. He speaks to us in various ways. So let us not cling to that one way we have known God. Because Saul knew that before they could win battles, they had to offer sacrifices. But what he failed to understand was that in that moment, he did not need to make that sacrifice. Someone was the one supposed to make the sacrifice. The waiting power. Because when things are hard around us, we are compelled as human beings to find ways out. It is natural. But if we can stay and wait on God, that is where strength comes from. Because you know that everything that is happening, if God does not help me, I cannot prevail. So if we can learn to rely on the help of God, then we will win our battles. If we can learn to rely on the strength of God, then we will win our battles. So it does not matter if it's left with 1 minute before the enemies invade your camp. Because when you know you go on your knees and you pray to God. The other day Elijah he was on his knees praying, knowing that there was rain coming. The Bible said he went on his knees and put his head in between his legs and he kept on praying. The Bible said that when he finished and when the help of God came, he ran past the chariot of Ahab. You see, the rain was coming, but his problem was not the rain coming. His problem or his patience was that the God that told him that rain was coming will give him the strength to go past that rain. May we learn how to wait on God. Samuel failed to wait on God. And the Bible said that when this happened, Saul failed to wait on God. When this happened, Samuel told Saul that your kingdom has been given to another man. And this is David in the wilderness thinking about himself. David is in the wilderness taking care of the sheep his father has told him to do. He was doing his assignment. But one thing shocked me so much. From 1 Samuel 13, when Saul's kingdom was taken away, the Bible says it's been given to another man. Can you believe that David never got onto the throne? Even as of 2 Samuel 2:17, he was still fighting. Because there were followers of Saul that were fighting against followers of David. So even though the promise came, there was still something David had to do. Waiting. May we learn how to wait on God. Because it is only then the help of God comes. Because if you run ahead of the help of God, who will help you? If you go before the chariot of Ahab leaves, Ahab will still come and pass you and the rain will catch up with you. May we learn how to wait on God. Amen. You see, I wrote something here. It says that it is not so much about the battle, but the ability to move only when we hear the voice of God. That is a strength on its own. You see, when you look at the reign of David, he reigned and he said, shall I pursue? And the Lord said, pursue. He said, shall I pursue, overtake? He said, pursue, overtake, and recover all. Why? Because he was waiting on God, and when God gave him that instruction, he went and he brought everything back. Every battle David went for, he went to God in prayer. You see, he had the men to fight the battle. He had the abilities, he had the weapons, he had everything, but he still had to wait on God, because you can have everything, and if God is not in it, you still fail. This year, I want us to come to the realization that God is the only helper of man. God is the only helper of man. And if we do not submit to this understanding, then the things we are looking for or the blessings we are looking for will not happen, because we are not submitting to the help of God. The only way God helps a man is when a man presents himself as broken. Amen. Because if you have to help someone, say, that means the person is in need of something. It's because he's on the floor. You don't lift up a person that is standing. But you only bring up somebody who is standing because he's on the floor. So if you need the help of God, you must submit to waiting. That is prayer and reading the word. Amen. Amen. I remember my days in uni. Because from senior high school, I was going to, my dad used to take us for 3 days fasting and prayers. No food, young boy. And I remember with the youth, and it was very periodic that he'd take us to Kaswa. There was this waiting place. I prayed, 3 days dry. All I do is water. And I didn't understand, because I remember there was this day, I'm praying, and I'm going and I'm eating. When I was going to eat, Sana, I'm so funny enough, guy, every time you go and pray, obey your Obaswa, let's lift up our voice and pray. And then she's so long. It is something we saw them because did not Michelle Jeff no Bosogis. Okay, so this is fine. But then little did I know that these were all preparations. I remember going to uni, my first day of uni. I went to uni. I was like, actually, my university, I said, Virginia. And I got joined. I was in university and Conti. Everybody knows Conti as KNSD, one of the most Continental Power. Yes, Shijama. I used to be Shijama Friday from 7 p.m. to 6 a.m. on Saturday. Boys don't sleep. It's Shijama. And one day, I will never forget this guy, Kweku. He came to meet me on Friday. He said, you don't belong here. You don't belong. You don't have to be doing this. This guy took it upon himself. He meet you hostel. Campus, I said, oh, I'm in now because we now message him. And I didn't call the hostel. Friday, I said, I'm not now, sorry. Who's also sorry? You can't say it's a roof, sorry, it's in our sorry. This guy purposely. And up to now, I still talk to him and say, thank you very much. Even though I came from a Christian background, I wanted to enjoy university because Charlie, but this guy said, you don't belong here. And it was in the waiting, we could go for 14 hours prayer, 24 hours prayer, just praying and praying and praying. I had nothing to ask for about God. I need your presence in my life. When I left to Italy, 2017, the town I went to, I won't say it anymore. I went there, I got to Italy on the Monday. I traveled to another town, came back. On the Friday, there was a church service. I prayed. People were complaining in the church, they don't have work, nobody's getting work. The anthem in the town, I went to put application in it was a Thursday, Friday, my friend said, Monday, come to work. A job that they were not hiring anybody under 2 months, if you've been in Italy before, you know that that is all people have been working for 10, 15 years, and all they are looking for is to be made permanent. I was made permanent under 2 months. And I never understood these things till when I came to UK. My mom said something. I said, Kofi, who school, who university, now I said, and then I went back and I said, so it is these prayers that will open doors. You see, you will not see what prayer is doing now. But if you can wait on God, you see, it will look like it's taking years. But if you can still wait, if you can read your word, if you can wait, it can be 1 year, 2 years. But when it happens, my God. You see, I don't know if you've heard of the story, Reverend Nelson, Assemblies of God, Ghana. He's been married, he's not had kids for 20 plus years. 20 years, man of God. Just last year, God blessed him with twins. Just what they did the dedication on February just gone. After 20 years of waiting. But this is somebody that did their Oyengo for dedication. And I'm sure you will go and pray, God, when will I come? But if you can continue, you see, he didn't get one, he got two. You see, when God is working, he takes his time. Why? Because today in the Bible school, we said something. That if you are praying, okay, maybe you are waiting for a car, but God has bigger blessings than a car. So you are failing to appreciate the things God is doing in the now. But when you learn how to wait, there is something that comes through thanksgiving. That is why David was a victorious man in every battle. Why? Because he was very grateful. Why was he grateful? Because he was able to wait on God so much that he understood that everything that happened in his life was because of God and not because of him. If we can wait on God, if we can wait on God, if only we can wait on God. See, if you live here today with nothing, one thing I want you to remember, wait on God. Today's prayer, compounded with tomorrow's prayer, and the following day, you see, keep being consistent. Just like the drops of water. You see, if you look at water, no matter how small the drops are, if those drops keep hitting one place, a hole will be made. Right? Do you know that? In short, as small as it is, because it is consistent, every